Zack Latteri was born on January 5th, 2000. At a young age, he was known for his contagious energy.
Zack was always very athletic and active, and when he was in second grade, he started riding his bike to school a mile each way, which was a little unusual in this neighborhood. Most people would rather get driven to school, but he was very motivated to be in good shape. So he used to ride his bike a mile back and forth to school.
I remember he was in my class in third grade, and he had really long hair, and he would skateboard and stuff. So I kind of just knew him as and he was really short too, so he was the little kid in my class that skateboarded and stuff.
So our families kind of knew each other. We didn't formally meet until kindergarten, and at that time he was obviously just a normal kindergarten kid, 6-year-old, just having a good time with his friends.
So one day when he came home, he said, he's really tired, which was unusual because he had been riding his bike for a couple of years, every day, winters, every day. I'm like, oh, okay. And then a couple other things happened. I took him to the doctor, and they said something was wrong, and we went to Hackensack, and they diagnosed him with leukemia in the 4th grade in March.
The news of cancer was a shock to his friends and family. However, at such a young age, the gravity of the situation could sometimes be hard to process.
I think when I found out, it didn't really mean much to me, and I just was young and I didn't really understand, what it was that was happening. I kind of feel like when I just felt like then I was invincible, and that my friends were too, and that there was nothing that could, take anything away from anyone. And it wasn't until you started to see some of the effects and kind of understand when I learned what cancer was and what it did to people, that I was just torn.
We were walking, and she told me that he had cancer, and I kind of didn't really know what cancer was, and she kind of explained it to me, but she was but most people get better. So I just at that age I was oh, okay, he's sick, and I get that it's serious, but he's gonna get better, and that was my mindset at that point.
When I first found out Zack had cancer, it kind of hit me by surprise. It really blindsided me because I never heard of a kid ever having cancer. Maybe just hearing that older people have it, and I was just oh, okay, they'll get through it, everything like that. And when I heard Zack had it, I knew he was gonna fight. He was gonna do everything he could to get through it, and I didn't think it was real at that point.
Zack fought bravely against the disease and conquered it on multiple occasions. Unfortunately, it always came back.
So Zack's cancer relapsed a couple of times, so he got diagnosed, and then a couple of years later, it came back, and they said the only thing to do was a bone marrow transplant. So we did that, and then a couple of years after that, it came back again. And we were at the hospital, and they said he could either go home and do nothing, and that would be the end, or he could try something at Sloan Kettering. So I gave Zack the choice, because he had been through so much. And he said no, he wanted to try. So we went to Sloan.
I always believed that he was strong enough to fight the disease better than anyone else I knew, because he had done it before, and because how strong he was mentally going through those situations.
He touched everyone because of how much he cared, and to be fearless. He was going through so much at such a young age, and didn't show any fear. He was just ready to kick cancer's ass, and I think that's such an amazing thing. He was a big superhero guy. He was all our superhero.
Zack never let how he was feeling physically affect his selfless character or his lighthearted personality.
When Zack was sick, you didn't even know he had cancer. He did everything that a normal child should do. Every kid knew Zack. He never acted any different. He never played the I have cancer card. He never did anything like that. When he wanted to go play the cross, he went and played the cross. When he wanted to go and slide down on his skateboard on his belly down my driveway, he did it. He got dirty, he had fun, and you would never know that he had cancer.
I think the best part about Zack through all of it was that nothing really changed. And I think that's what makes him more special than anyone you'll ever meet, is that through everything he ever did, he was selfless and cared about others. Even after treatments, he would text someone and say, hey, heard you're not having a great day. You want me to see you. And it's little things like that that are unbelievable and show how true his character was and makes him so special.
Zack, regardless if he was sick or healthy, he was always so happy. He always wanted to do something, and he never physically showed pain when other people were around him, so nobody ever knew if he was feeling bad that day.
but he was always worried about his friends. And that's what I noticed at the high school. He showed so much courage, and he wanted to make sure that his friends and people around him felt comfortable and were okay.
Well, I remember the relay his last relay, so he was in a wheelchair. It was like 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning when we were all like dead. We just wanted to sit in the tents or sit in the camp chairs, and he made us get up and sprint laps with him, pushing him in the wheelchair around the track.
So I think one day in particular, it was Zack went through a lot of stuff at the hospital, but one day, every week there was one day that was worse than most days. So he had a spinal tap, a bone marrow, he got chemo, he got blood, he got platelets, everything that could have happened. Like certain days of the month were those kind of days. And what you're supposed to do is go home and rest. And Zack and I decided that, we would listen as much as we could, but ultimately, whatever Zack wanted to do. So we yes the doctors, and then he came home and went to a football game and, had a great time.
Throughout it all, Cancer could never take his sense of humor.
I can picture, every time he made fun of me, called me fat, but in a loving way. Tried to shove food down my throat, or would jump on my back and call me little brother, even though I was 7 times the size of him.
Gabby was in Aruba, and we were talking in our group message, and, Gabby was like, what do you guys want me to bring you back? Like, I'll bring you back anything. And, normal answer would be, yeah, like a t-shirt or a bracelet or, something like that. Zack goes, yeah, just either bring me back a shot glass or a girl.
The funniest thing about him was actually his laugh. Like his laugh was actually very addicting, because it was just so enthusiastic, and it went on for so long that you just ended up laughing with him. So that was one of the funniest things about Zack, was his laugh.
Zack's favorite night of the year was Relay for Life. This event is held in order to raise money for the American Cancer Society.
So when Zack got diagnosed, his older brother Brandon started a relay team, and it was called Attack for Zack. And, they were in, I guess, probably middle school, and it was a lot of fun. And Zack and I started going as team members of Brandon's team. And then at some point, Zack decided he wanted to have his own team. So him and a couple friends, mostly Lauren Bowler, started a team. I think one year they were amazing. They raised over $80,000 as 8th graders.
And we were just like, we need to get everyone involved. So in 8th grade is when relay really took off for everyone. And me and Zack were determined to get everyone to know that cancer just doesn't affect one person, it affects everyone. Whether your grandmother had it, your mom had it, your friend had it, your dog had it, someone that had cancer or has cancer. So we wanted everyone to feel like they can go to relay, get involved, raise money for something that means so much to everyone. And that's how we really started Relay for Life, and we wanted everyone to really, get involved, know more about it, and start getting educated about how much Relay for Life means and to cancer research and everything like that.
From January all the way up until relay, it took up Zack's life every day. There was a lot of fundraisers, and he just really loved getting the grade together as a group and just relaying for a good cause.
Zack did relay not for himself, not so he could be recognized or have all those people there because of him. He did it so that hopefully one day there could be a world where no one has to go through what he went through.
He was very, very enthusiastic about making sure that he fought this disease as hard as he could, not just personally, but also as a group, and trying to fundraise to make sure that somewhere along the line, we find a cure. And it was his passion about it that really helped our team as a class fundraise so much money.
That was his baby, and it meant so much to him to make sure that no kid would ever have to hear the words, "You have cancer." And he, created a team that has raised so much money and done an unbelievable job.
Late in his freshman year, things began to take a turn for the worse. Zack was given the impossible choice of having to decide between going through a treatment that would take away his sight and hearing or ending the fight. Zack Latteri would pass away on July 16th, 2015.
It just didn't feel real to me. So I wound up calling my mom, and she was actually here with Miss Sharon, and she said that he had passed away. And I didn't know how to react. I didn't know how to feel. It kind of just felt like a numbness came over my body that I just lost my brother.
And it takes a while to kind of let it all sink in. So I think for me, like the whole week after he passed away was really just one big process opposed to it all happening in one night.
Zach's memory is not only living on through his friends and family, but also through his class at Pascack Valley High School. After his passing, the student council changed the class cause to Fred's Team in honor of Zach.
So Fred's Team is actually a marathon organization, I guess, that people can take part in. So you basically, when you're running, say like the New York City Marathon, you pick a cause and then you run for them. So specifically Fred's Team is for runners that are going to run in different marathons, and then through the process they raise money for it and they get donors, and then when they run, like you'll see at a marathon, a group of people will all be wearing the Fred's Team t-shirt, and when they all take off, you know, it's pretty cool. And Zach had chosen it because he thought the whole thing of it was pretty cool.
There was a PSA done not too long ago, and that everything, or a lot of the students who spoke in the PSA, basically said everything they do, Zach's always in their memory. And I don't know if Zach really realized the impact that he had on our students.
So I started making the videos sophomore year. The project just kind of like fell into my lap. And this year, it just became something that I wanted to resonate with the senior class. So sophomore year, it was really just a video about us saying goodbye to Zach. Sophomore year, I wanted to remember him, so we had people tell videos about him, like funny videos. I wanted it to be something people could laugh about. And then this year, I really wanted to make it about how we're graduating, and the memory of him is graduating with us.
To honor his memory, Zack Latteri created the Zack Latteri Foundation.
When somebody in your house has cancer, it changes the whole dynamic of everything, your family, your finances, everything. So even if it's a couple $100, every little bit helps. So the foundation was set up to help this community with schools, and like we did something for the fire department. Our next thing is for the ambulance squad. We do things for local families that are struggling with either the parents or the children with cancer, or really it would be anything that's a struggle.
I'm an ambassador on the foundation, which means I just kind of help out with really whatever they need me for. Recently we've done fundraisers, just like dinners, and then we just invite whoever has any relationship to Zach or the foundation at all. So those are big. And then really recently we make gift baskets, because one of the things Zach always complained about was how the sheets in the hospital are so crappy and so like hard. So we make gift baskets with like toys and new sheets for the kids in the hospital.
The Zach Packs and kids that were going through the same process as he was, or were in the hospital or something else, he wanted to make sure they had the comforts of home. And that's continuing through his mom, which is amazing.
The motto of the organization is "Paying It Forward," a saying that was epitomized by the character of Zach.
Pay it forward to me means just doing it for people who can't. You want to make sure that you're here and you're doing something that's not just going to benefit you and make you feel good, but benefit someone else that's going through a hard time. Just seeing someone just saying, "Oh, you look really nice today," or "Hey, let me help you with that." Paying it forward, it's probably one of the greatest feelings to do for someone. And I don't know, I just feel like the Zack Latteri Foundation is just such a beautiful thing to carry on what Zach wanted in life, and just like embracing his inner spirit, because he was the type of person that just wanted to pay it forward, and what we're doing now and everything is just, that's what he would have wanted.
He knew how much the community wanted to help him, and kind of all he wanted to do was like almost deflect it off himself and like push them to helping other people too, and not only him.
With his condition, he definitely could have just spent his time at home resting, but he would go out and do various different fundraisers. We would sit outside of stores and ask the shoppers for money, and he would do that in the cold and the heat. Like, he didn't care what was going on.
So even though Zach was really sick for so long, he was really involved in Relay for Life, which he was hoping that even though it was going to help him so much, that they would eventually find a cure so other people wouldn't have to go through that. So Zack was always about, thinking in the future.
Zack's outlook on life was never corrupted by his unfortunate circumstances. His positivity taught those around him the importance of living for today.
He just taught us to be strong, to never give up, keep fighting, he would just be happy. That's what Zack was. If I could think of one thing, he was just always happy.
Take every day at a time and just kind of take things as they come, and you don't, clearly horrible things happen and you can't control certain things, so the things that you can't control you have to just kind of deal with and push through and just be brave through them.
At the end of the day, when you're done with a conversation with someone, you want them to walk away and feel good about themselves.
I think Zack inspired me and everyone to not necessarily raise money for cancer, but to find a cause that they're very passionate about and to raise awareness and raise money for that.
Zack is a hero in the Pascack Valley community, and his spirit and memory will live on forever in the hearts of those that loved him.
So the class council is, I believe, planting a tree with a stone in front of it that's going to say Zack's name. So this year when we graduate, there will always be his name here to always be remembered.
But to know that he's watching over not only me, but his family and his friends and anyone he's ever met. It's comforting, and I know that no matter where I go, I'm going to be okay because I have him.
When I have kids one day, hopefully I can talk to them about Zack and what he meant to me and the lessons he taught me and how inspiring that was and how impactful that was for me. And I think the fact that he has that legacy says a lot about him.
Everyone fears, or people fear, that they're gonna forget Zack's name and everything like that, but Zack has had such an impact on not only the people that have met him in his life, but people that have heard about him. It's affected everyone in the Hillsdale and River Vale community, and that no one will ever forget his name, no one will ever stop talking about him, because he's a hero to not only me, not only you, but to everyone that has ever heard about him, heard his story. And I just think that if you know Zack, if you know his name, or if you even just meet someone and they just want to tell you a funny story about him, he's just going to have an impact on your life, whether it's easy or not.
Every day was an adventure with Zack. Never a boring moment, so miss him.
3, 2, 1, go.
Hi, Zachy.
Hey, Zack. Zack, it's been quite a while now.
Hey, Zack.
Hey, buddy. We miss you.
I love and miss you.
We miss and love you. I love and miss you.
So I miss you and I love you.
Every single time I wake up,
I take you everywhere I go.
driving my car,
Doing everything I do.
go to church,
I always think of you.
play basketball.
You're with me wherever I go. Thank you.
Thank you for believing in me.
I just want to thank you
Thank you for teaching all of us how to be better people.
for the life lessons that you gave me
For changing my life and everybody else's for the better.
about persevering through tough situations.
You had the biggest impact anyone's ever had on my life. Even though I don't know where I'm going to school yet, I'm taking you with me.
And know that when we go to college or go on our future paths, every single one of us who was friends with you, went to school with you, saw you passing by in the street, are going to carry on your tradition of just spreading love, hope, and being an inspiration to everyone else.
I still have this, and it's the best present I've ever gotten from anyone.
You'll be with me here, you'll be with me at Planet Wings, and you'll be with me in Miami.
You're always in my heart. You're also always in here.
And just know that
It's just hard to think that Zack won't be graduating with us.
to me, and you're still someone that I look up to. He said that when he grows up, he wants to make a burger and shake place in River Vale. You changed our lives. And now that we're all kind of moving on, I kind of wish you were still around to make that burger and shake place, because I'm sure a lot of us would really like that. You are an inspiration in what I want to do in my life.
When I have kids one day, I can pass on to them and say that I knew you.
So many other people, when they continue on to their career, they're going to be thinking of you while they're making that difference and changing the world.
And there's no doubt that even when our class leaves this school, that your impact will be felt.
Definitely changed my world, all of our friends' world, and the school's world.
Miss you, bud.
Dreams that you dare to